Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Daily English Talk. I'm your host, Emily, and today we have a special guest with us. His name is Alex, and he's going to share some useful tips on how to get along with others. Hi, Alex, how are you doing today?
Hi, Emily. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're happy to have you here, Alex. So, today we're talking about something that's really important, especially for people learning a new language and meeting new people, how to get along with others. What do you think is the first thing we should consider when we want to get along with someone?
That's a great question, Emily. I think the first thing is to be polite and respectful. It doesn't matter if you're talking to a friend, a coworker, or someone you've just met. Being polite sets a positive tone for the conversation. Simple things like saying please and thank you can go a long way in making someone feel respected and valued.
I totally agree. Politeness is such a universal way of showing respect. But sometimes, people might have different opinions or ways of doing things. How can we handle situations like that?
Yes, that can be challenging, but it's also a great opportunity to practice patience and understanding. When someone has a different opinion, it's important to listen carefully and try to understand their point of view. You don't always have to agree, but showing that you're willing to listen can help avoid arguments. One phrase that's really helpful in these situations is, I understand where you're coming from. This shows that you respect their opinion, even if it's different from yours.
That's a great tip, Alex. It's so important to listen before responding. Sometimes, when we disagree, we just want to win the argument, but that's not really helpful, is it right?
Exactly. If you try to win the argument, you might lose the connection with the other person. It's much better to focus on understanding each other. A good way to avoid turning a conversation into a debate is to ask questions. For example, you can ask, can you explain more about why you think that? This shows that you're interested in what they have to say, not just in proving them wrong.
That's such a good point. Asking questions keeps the conversation open and friendly. What about situations where someone is upset or angry? How can we deal with those situations?
Oh, that's definitely tricky. When someone is upset, the first thing to do is stay calm. If you get upset too, it will only make things worse. Try to speak in a soft and calm voice. You can say something like, I see that you're upset. Let's talk about this. By acknowledging their feelings, you can start to calm the situation.
That's great advice, Alex. Staying calm is really key. And what if the problem is something we did? Sometimes, it's hard to admit when we're wrong. How do we handle that?
Yes, it can be hard to admit when we've made a mistake, but it's important to do so if we want to have good relationships. Saying I'm sorry is very powerful. It shows that you're taking responsibility for your actions and that you care about the other person's feelings. And it's not just about saying the words, you have to mean it. You can also say something like, I didn't mean to hurt you. How can I make things better? This shows that you're willing to fix the problem.
That's true, apologizing when necessary can really help fix things. It takes courage, but it's worth it. What about keeping a positive attitude in general? How can that help us get along with others?
A positive attitude can make a big difference. When you're positive, people are naturally drawn to you. It's easier to connect with others when you smile, laugh, and show that you're enjoying the conversation. Also, being positive means looking for the good in people and situations, even when things are difficult. If you approach situations with a positive mindset, it's easier to find solutions and avoid conflict.
I love that. A smile can really brighten someone's day. It's simple, but so effective. Before we wrap up, do you have any final tips for our listeners on how to get along with others?
Yes, I would say the last tip is to be yourself, but also be open to learning from others. We all have different experiences and backgrounds, and that's what makes life interesting. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts and opinions, but also be willing to listen and learn from the people around you. Building good relationships takes time, but with patience, kindness, and a positive attitude, it's possible to get along with almost anyone.
That's such wonderful advice, Alex. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today. I think our listeners will really appreciate these tips on how to get along with others.
Thank you, Emily. It was a pleasure to be here. I hope everyone finds these tips helpful.
I'm sure they will. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on Daily English Talk. We hope today's episode gave you some useful ideas to practice in your everyday life. Remember, getting along with others is a skill that can be learned, so keep practicing. Until next time, take care and keep smiling.